Graduates, it is now my honor to introduce to you your commencement speaker who will soon become a member of your class of 2009 as he is awarded an honorary degree for a lifetime of extraordinary service. Tom Feltenstein is the CEO and founder of the Power Marketing Academy, a leading consulting firm that serves and educates the retail, hospitality, and service industries. Tom believes in thinking small and acting locally, and that all you need for success can be found within the four walls of your own organization. He's a visionary counselor to countless numbers of Fortune 500 companies, and he's a renowned keynote speaker who has written 12 books and appeared numerous times on national television. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in providing a warm Northwood welcome for Mr. Tom Feltenstein.
How you all doing? All right. Well, I'm honored to be with you today at your commencement. And you may be surprised to know that I never graduated from college. Truth be told, this is the closest I've ever been to a college graduation. And no doubt this is the same for many of you. So you're in good company. Now, it only took me 40 years to fulfill that promise of my parents that I'd come back to college and get my degree. But I was thinking this morning, I did get a degree. I graduated from Hamburger University. Any of you heard of Hamburger University? I grew up working at McDonald's and used to be that marketing guy that did all that kind of stuff. You've heard of the Happy Meal and some of those other things. So that was so scary. So I do have my diploma from hamburgerology. So, for whatever that's worth. But most of you are waiting to walk across the stage and receive a degree that will open the doors for the rest of your life. Though you may not know what that life may be right now. My life has gone through tremendous changes and over shifts the past 4 decades, both professionally and personally. And every morning I look in the mirror and I ask myself, if this were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And you know what? Whenever the answer was no for too many days, I changed what I was doing. You're about to undergo a massive shift in direction in your life. But don't be afraid. Change is good. In fact, my last book was called Change is Good, You Go First. And if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance a lot less. What keeps me constantly aware of this idea is the fact that I'll be dead soon. In fact, if I were a poker player, I'd be severely short-staffed. The interesting thing about death is that you realize that there's no bonus rounds or points you get to accumulate. And realizing this has helped me to make the big choices and the hard decisions in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, pride, fear, embarrassment, or failure, don't these things just fall away as insignificant when you realize you only get one shot at life? You have nothing to lose, so there's no reason not to follow your heart. And when we think about our greatest assets in life, what really comes to mind? Many of you would say power, glory, wealth, yet overlooked is the most obvious and valuable asset that we all have, and that is time. You can't make more of it, and you can't escape death. No one has. Even Elvis, no matter what you've ever seen in Vegas. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by the results of other people's beliefs or expectations. No one's opinion should ever drown out your inner voice. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition and all the rewards that life will follow. One of my associates told me that his grandmother was an incredible Monopoly player. Whenever they played, she would wipe him out. Every single time at the end of the game, he would have nothing. And she would always smile and say, "Frank, someday you're going to learn how to play the game." So one day a kid moved next door to Frank and turned out to be a darn good Monopoly player. In fact, he was world class, and every single day Frank practiced with this kid because he knew his grandmother would be visiting soon. And when she arrived for a visit, Frank said, "Grandma, how about a round of Monopoly?" She said, "Yeah, let's go, Frank, let's go." Well, old Frank was ready for her this time. He destroyed her, absolutely on everything at the end of the game, and she had nothing. And his grandmother looked at him and said, "Frank, now that you know how to play the game, let me teach you a lesson about life." She smiled and said, "Frank, it all goes back in the box." Most people are pushing and shoving for wealth, position, recognition, and for all kinds of things. But when the game of life is over, all the money, property, and tokens go back in the box, and the only thing you get to keep is your soul. So the foremost damaging factors to your mindset are fear, doubt, worry, and guilt. And right now, I have to tell you, you may fear that your future won't be as bright as you hoped it would be. You may doubt your abilities to work at your chosen occupation in the real world. You may worry that you'll end up as a destitute, homeless person. You may feel guilty that you cheated on all those tests because you might really need that information someday. You just don't know. So when we allow ourselves these four to reign over our emotions, we invite in happiness in our lives. And the opposites, on the positive side of the ledger, are confidence, self-assurance, and a clear conscience. So those who habitually treat others with kindness, empathy, understanding, and thoughtfulness, those who treat others as they would love to be treated themselves, who do those little things to show appreciation, to be a friend, to a relative, a neighbor, or even the boss at work, are usually found to be in tune with positive emotions and who are in truth to happiness. Happiness doesn't come as a result of acquiring something external. I got to tell you, my friends, it's all inside here. And from our earliest days, each of us resembles a life based on what we think possible to do, to have, or to become. We develop confidence in certain areas, power, and even mastery in others. In my life, I've had many accomplishments, including some that you may be aspiring to. I've worked with, consulted with some of the top awesome companies in the world, from Disney to Texaco to Hyatt Hotels to IBM, you name them. I've sat in boardrooms with international world-class leaders, with presidents. I've worked on campaigns. I've traveled the globe, written 12 books. But there's nothing that I truly wanted that I didn't achieve. And that's the biggest secret. It all goes back in the minds. So all the accomplishments, experiences, and assets I've obtained mean nothing when time runs out. As I look at the faces of all of you out there, I realize that all of you are much wealthier by far than I am right now, because you have a lifetime to live your dreams. And that's what's so gorgeous about today.